name is Cozy Goiter, and this is my persuasive speech. Imagine lightsabers clashing together in a tremendous one-on-one fight. I say this to get your attention. Have you ever been shamed for liking something, even in a wide-span topic that most people mostly enjoy? Today we are going to be discussing the topic of Star Wars, and I totally didn't mean to click that. The topic of Star Wars and why it should all be enjoyed, because most of the fan base is pretty split and unanimously toxic. I have lived and breathed Star Wars my entire life, ever since I was little cozy and saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters. So I have a vast knowledge on it. Star Wars is a worldwide phenomenon, and it should be, enjoyed instead of the fandom being split. So let me begin by telling you the issue here, which would be the need step. So obviously, all Star Wars, in my opinion, should be appreciated, not just the first three movies. The Star Wars prequels and sequels have gotten an immense amount of hate since they've been out because they're compared so much to the original three. The Star Wars prequels alone, I remember before even the sequels came out, just time after time got insulted with Jar Jar Binks and it being about politics and trade routes and not actually Star Wars. Both of my things were from Slate.com, where many people of the older generation claimed they weren't as good as the originals with high expectations. They also say they were drawn out, again, the whole trade routes thing being more about politics, and not have the same feel because they already knew it was going to happen. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that because, especially with the prequels, yeah, we know Anakin becomes Darth Vader. Sorry, I'm probably going to be pretty spoilery throughout this, so sorry. The Anakin becomes Darth Vader, but we didn't know in what context, like all the in-between. And even though we knew Anakin was Darth Vader, how did he become Darth Vader? So, well, that's a fair point. I don't agree with it. So if you thought the prequel hate was bad, the sequel hate, I think, has been even worse. For especially a lot of fans that already didn't like the prequels, didn't really want the sequels. So, both of these are from blog.usejournal.com. Their complaints are that there's no sense of storytelling and having a very inconsistent story. Now, I will say that there is some spots, especially in the sequel trilogy, where some things just don't add up, but they're either retconned or paved over so it somewhat makes sense. Rey's rise to stardom has no conflict. She doesn't go through any sort of significant change or bad thing happen, coining the phrase a Mary Sue. So if you don't know what a Mary Sue is, it's pretty much what I just said, is that they don't go through any sort of, conflict. Nothing bad happens to them. They just are this overall super cool being. And Rey is not the first one to be, through this. It's happened throughout cinema history. But I don't agree with that either. I can see it a little bit, but throughout her story in the trilogy, she definitely goes through different changes. The third thing, which I do have here, is Clone Wars and Rebels. Both of these are animated shows that take place in between the movies. And most fans honestly don't watch them. I don't know why, but I can honestly say too is, which my main first point here from Cinema 76 was that they complained that they were made for kids, which isn't really true. However, I thought the same thing before I actually watched it and realized that it's actually, ties into a lot more things with the overall story, which I'll talk about here in another point. Some fans complain it's too time-consuming, which I can understand because instead of a 2-hour sit-down movie, you have to go through numerous seasons that are 20-30 minutes long. However, if you're that lazy with a fan base in the universe like this, maybe you should find something else. Now that I've shown you some of the need steps, allow me to show you what can do to satisfy this to fix it. So, the satisfaction step would be to rewatch the movies and just realize what is truly going on, I think will help. Most people just like to pave over the fact because of what, company made the movies, how they were made. To me, the prequels can be as equally good as the originals just solely because of the lightsaber fighting. Lightsaber fighting was significantly better in the prequels. They had a lot more technology to do backflips and, just the choreography was a lot better. Something that's a lot harder in cinema, and both of these are from USA Today, is, you see the hero's journey rise to power, but in the prequels, you see Anakin's downfall to Darth Vader. So his fall from, grace, essentially, which in a way can be argued is a lot harder to do. The sequels can be just as good as the originals too, because the conversation between multi-generations. I mean, from someone to myself, I was 8, 9 when Revenge of the Sith came out, so I morally identify with the sequels, being a teenager early in my 20s when they came out. So talking to Star Wars fans that have seen and been through, alive through all of them, is honestly pretty cool and something I would not take for granted. Adam Driver, who plays Kylo Ren, his performance in the sequels alone would, to me, make me want to see it all over again if I'd never seen it. Especially with his, mimicking his grandfather and redemption story. Spoiler, sorry. The third point would be, again, watching the Clone Wars. It gives you a better liking for the universe as a whole. You see things such as a wildly liked character now in Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, come to life in both Rebels and Clone Wars, and seeing how both series intertwine with each other. Like, while the shows both intertwine with the movies, they also intertwine series-wise. So now that I've shown you the satisfaction step, allow me to visualize it. Again, seeing Star Wars in a different light. You start with the originals. You see a young farm boy, Luke Skywalker, rise to the occasion and becoming a Jedi. But then you realize that the bigger story is honestly Darth Vader's redemption story and him finally returning to the light. You move forward to the prequels, where you see the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker. You get to enjoy watching young Anakin become his own while being trained by young Obi-Wan. You also get to see the steps of what his downfall exactly was, and the kind of things that correlated to make him become what he once swore to destroy, a Sith Lord being Darth Vader. Then you get to move to the sequels, where you get to see what happened after the Empire has fallen, because they didn't just go away. Like, Return of the Jedi wasn't it, and if anything, the TV show The Mandalorian has showed us, that show takes place 5 years after the Return of the Jedi. Empire's still around. It's not as big as it was, but there's still a threat to retake the galaxy. And you get to see new heroes and villains rise from both previous characters in the franchise, and you're wholesome as you watch all 9 episodic films as the saga ends in peace and harmony. I actually interviewed Garrett for part of this, and I even asked him, is it possible to enjoy all 9 episodic films? Like, with the TV shows, the spin-offs with Rogue One and Solo, and he simply answered, yeah. I mean, if you take your bias away from, just that it's Disney or Lucasfilm or the technology, you can enjoy it. So with that, I will show you, I don't know why my mouse isn't working. Oh, I did the visualization step, my bad. The action step, which was accepting and enjoying all of Star Wars, can make you appreciate the franchise even more. The fandom is divided, but that can change if more people would just get over the fact that this is how Star Wars is going to be. I request that all of you sit down at some point and watch all 9 movies. I probably do it once a year or watch the movies periodically throughout the year, and I still, to this day, enjoy watching all of them. So with that being said, the Star Wars universe is a great one. I think y'all should dive in and give it a shot. Thanks.